I hope that you are having a good day so far. All right, so today we will be doing our today we'll be doing our lesson on capitalization. So we'll be doing our grade 6 English lesson on capitalization. And before we start with our lesson on capitalization, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. We're going to log in with our username as well as our password. And we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 6. All right, so once we have selected the subject of language arts, chapter, and also grade 6, now we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of capitalization. So in our previous lesson, we did capitalization and we did capitalization errors, right? And we then had to fix all the capitalization errors that we saw within sentences, right? Or basically the errors that we should not make. So when it comes to capitalization, so in the lesson basically for today is where we're just going to again focus on capitalization, right? Not even the errors of capitalization. And we'll once again go over rules of capitalization. So in the meantime, just to refresh, capitalization is actually very important whenever we are either writing, within sentencing, and even engaging with people, especially through writing, because there's a lot of titles, names, things, um even titles of respect, right, that needs to be capitalized. The same with names of people and places, as much as we take it lightly, but you do find people who basically what they put emphasis on having to write certain words with capital letters. Like, for example, your name, your surname, second name, initials, titles of respect, right? Even one day when you go into your job place and you need to write in a cover letter or a CV, if the capitalization or certain words are not in place, right, then that can be something that they throw out. If you are writing an essay, you can be marked down for not having proper capitalization. So, which means that capitalization is important, especially when it comes to the English written language. So, with capitalization, there is quite a few things that needs capitalizing, starting with our names. So, we need to capitalize names of people as well as names of pets, which means that we even start with your own name, right? So your name, your second name, your third name, as well as your surname, that needs to be capitalized. So when you write your name, surname, the first letter of the word needs to be capitalized. Same with names of pets, right? The name of your pet, you need to capitalize. So if the name of your pet is Spotty, so if your dog's name is either, or your pet's name is Spotty or Sparky, then it means that you need to capitalize it. Also, we need to capitalize titles of respect, right? So titles of respect needs to also be capitalized. For example, if you go to the doctor, right? If you're just randomly going to say that I'm going to the doctor or a doctor, I'm going to see a doctor. then we don't capitalize it because you are generalizing it. But as soon as you specify it, you are specific as to which specific doctor you are going to, and then you need to write that with a capital letter. For example, Dr. Chen. So Doctor DR needs to be capitalized and the name. So we capitalize the titles of respect if it is used with a name or as a name. But if the title of respect is used as a common noun, then we do not capitalize it. The same with president. If you just say a president, the president, and then it is basically then the way you are saying it, it is generalizing it. So it is then written or should be written as a like a lowercase because it's a common noun. But as soon as you specify what president, right? Then you write the name of the president and then you need to capitalize it. All right, we also capitalize initials, right? So initials and surnames and some form of abbreviations, right? We also need to capitalize days of the week, months of the year, special holidays, right? Even including the word day or eve, that needs to be capitalized. Remember also a start of the sentence. If you start a new sentence, right, then you need to capitalize the first word of that sentence. We also capitalize the names of historical events, periods, as well as documents, languages, religions, nationalities, and proper adjectives. We need to capitalize it because our religion, our nationality, our languages are important. So we capitalize it. Names of places. Like if you give a specific name of a street, right? Like Washington Street, then we capitalize it. But if you're just going to say the street, go down that street, then we don't capitalize it because now it is basically used as a common noun. Even places built by people, such as buildings and bridges and streets and monuments, these are things that needs capitalization. Geographical features needs to be capitalized. And we do not capitalize words like the or of. We don't capitalize it. The only time you capitalize it is if the word the or the word of is the first word of a sentence. Then only we capitalize it. So, for example, the Declaration of Independence. We don't capitalize it. But as soon as the word the is the start of a sentence, then you can capitalize it. All right, so now George Washington became president after leading the fight against England in the Revolutionary War. So yeah, we need to select the correct capitalization within the sentence. And if we choose the correct one, we will choose war. Because it is not just war, but it is revolutionary war. All right. That is an example. But today's lesson is not about correcting capitalization errors, right? It is just about capitalization. The things that we need to capitalize. All right, and if we now go to we're on our whiteboard, right? Then there's a few rules when it comes to capitalization. And we already went over a few, right? So we see that this is our chapter of capitalization, grade 6. And so far we did part of our content on aplusstudents.ca. We are going to do an activity also soon, and then we are going to do it on aplusclasses.ca, which means that we will find part of our lesson on aplusclasses.ca because we're just focusing on capitalization, grade 6. So when we capitalize, right, we're just going to go over the few that we did, the other few that we did not mention. We capitalize the first word of every sentence. So if you start a new line, then we capitalize that also. So which means that new line is a new sentence. The first word of a quoted sentence. So once you quote, right, anything, the first word of a quoted sentence, we need to capitalize. Names of people, names of pets, the name of a street, the name of a city, province, state, or country, we need to capitalize it. We even need to capitalize the places of specific locations, right? As well as the words derived from proper nouns. We capitalize it. When we're writing books, right, we also capitalize titles of books. So the names of books, movies, arts, articles, etc., we need to capitalize it. For example, 100 Years of Solitude. Remember, we see that the of is not capitalized. The Return of Superman. In that case, the is the start of, let's say, the start of the book or the title of the book. The pronoun I needs to be capitalized. An opening and closing of a letter. Dear sir, kind regards when you are done. So that is a few capitalization rules that we can follow or practice or do whenever we are either writing. All right, so now we're going to go on to aplusclasses.ca. And this is where we are going to do an activity. So we are logging into aplusclasses.ca. aplusclasses.ca. So once you've logged into aplusclasses.ca, we're going to learning material. Then we're going to grade and we scroll to grade 6. We scroll down. Yeah, it says, what would you like to do? We go to the first one where the green book is open and say language arts. And then we're going to the second workbook, which is to practice grammar in this language arts book. So practice grammar in this language arts book. All right, so once we are in the grammar book, right, we're going to scroll down up until we get to page 37, 38, 39, and 40. 38, 39, and 40. All right, so now we are, yes, page 37. So we have scrolled down up until we get to page 37, which is capitalizing sentences, quotations, and salutations. So we're going to find out what is salutations. So when it comes to capitalizing sentences, we use a capital letter to begin a sentence or a direct quote if the quotation is a complete sentence. So if only the sentence is a complete, the quotation is a complete sentence, then we use the first word of the quotation as in capital letters. All right, so now it also says if we look at an example, right? Before we go to the example, Maria whispered, "Don't go in there." And the first word or the first letter of the of the word is of the, let's say, the quotation marks is capitalized. Beautiful. If the quotation is interrupted by explanatory words, don't capitalize the first word. In the second part of the quotation unless that part begins with another sentence. All right, so now we're going to do the activity on capitalization. So, capitalizing sentences and quotations. So, we need to rewrite each sentence correctly, correct any errors in capitalization and quotations in the sentences. So, if the sentence is correct, you write correct. All right, so if we look at the first one, number one, it says, last night, Gary and I talked about the school play. So last night, Gary and I talked about the school play. So we either need to rewrite the sentence by correcting any errors in capitalization and quotation in the sentence. All right. So if we look at capitalization errors, I'm going to underline with a PC. So last night, Gary and I talked about the school play. So last night, Gary and I spoke about the school play. So if we look at that sentence, what needs capitalizing? So what of which of the words needs capitalizing or capitalization? All right, so if we look at the words that needs capitalization, it is lost in last night. Gary and I talked about the old school play. So which means that lost, the last in last night needs to be capitalized because it is the start of a sentence. Gary said that he was going to try out for the lead role. So Gary said he was going to try out for the lead role. All right. So Gary said that he was going to try out for the lead role. And then we have if I can learn all the lines. So if already over there needs to be capitalized. So if I can learn all the lines, he said, Mrs. Rogers will let me be Peter Pan. And as you can see, there it says Miss Rogers. That is basically also putting some form of respect on the name. All right. All right, so now we're going on to the next page, page 38. Let's go to page 38. And page 38 says a proper noun names a particular person, place, or thing. It means that they are specific. We always capitalize a proper noun. Capitalize the names and initials of people. Remember, I said that people also put a lot of respect on their names, on their surnames, their initials. So you need to write it with a capital letter. So even titles or the abbreviations, when it comes before a person's name, it needs to be used or it needs to be capitalized. And there we have a few examples. The name, surname, T. Brown, Doctor, Mr. Miss, right? So now we're going to, you should not capitalize a title when it follows a person's name or stands in for the name. All right. So also when it comes to capitalization, we see that names of places are important to be capitalized. Even name of specific places are capitalized. Compass directions. That's only if you make mention of a name of a country or part of a country. We don't capitalize adjectives that describes the nouns. And we capitalize the names of streets, highways, as well as names of specific sites such as bridges, buildings, and monuments. So we're going to identify place names. So place names, we're going to identify that. So we're going to underline the correct use of the word in the bracket. My family is it the first one, which is Harlem country? Or is it the second one, which is Harlem country with a capital letter H or and C? So if we choose or underline the correct use of the word, and then we are choosing Harlem County. Harlem County. This is located in Central Texas. So this is located in Central Texas. So this is located in Central Texas. So we need to choose the correct word. When I was 5, we moved to the Midwest, or we moved to the Midwest, which is capital letter M. All right. So when we have a house on the beach, number 4, so unfortunately the house we have a house on the beach of Lake Michigan. And Lake Michigan is capital letter. All right, so now we're going into capitalizing place names. Place names. And remember, we said names of people, pets, as well as names of places needs to be capitalized. So now, when it comes to capitalizing proper nouns and proper adjectives, right? We need to save the following sentences So in the following sentences, we need to circle lowercase letters that should be capitalized. So we circle lower cases and we should be capitalized, and that should be capitalized. Nan told us about her travels to European cities. So the following sentence, we circle lower cases and we capitalize. So Nan told us about the travels to Europe city, which means that so if we look at the word year, Nan told us about her travels to European cities, which means that that is a word that will be capitalized. European. She has a great deal about the French Revolution. The French Revolution. She has a great deal about the French Revolution, and she was there for Bastille Day, France's most important holiday. So which means that if that is France's most important holiday, and then we are going to choose Bastille and Day as well as France's, and that needs to be capitalized. Charles Dickens's book, A Tale of Two Cities, is about the French Revolution. So, Tale, Two Cities. All right, so that is basically capitalization, right? And with capitalization, there's a lot of errors that we can make, such as capitalizing things that should be lowercase and writing quite a few in lowercase that should be capitalized. All right, so there's capitalization. And remember, when we form or we fix capitalization errors, right? We need to keep the rules in mind. What are all the rules when it comes to either capitalizing and also not capitalizing? All right, so now let's go back to our whiteboard. All right, so we're going to rewrite the sentences with the correct capital letters. So we're going to rewrite the sentences with the correct capital letters. Should we go to St. James Park after gym? So should we go to St. James Park after gym? So we need to rewrite that sentence with the correct capital letters. So if we correct the capitalization, already the first, number one, the start of that sentence is should. Should we go to St. James? Let's put St. James Park after the gym. So, firstly, the 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 one that says should we go to St. James's Park after the gym. The remember always the first word, yeah, let's say the first word of every sentence needs to be capitalized. So this is going to be should. I'm not going to rewrite the whole sentence. All I'm going to do is S for. I'm just going to put should. So should we go to St. James, which means that it is Saint, capital letter, and James. So that is the two, let's say, words within the first question that needs capitalization. Addison loves going to Perth Zoo with Jonathan. So now we need to identify the capitalization error. All right. So these are the words that needs, I'm not even sure if zoo, but these are the word that needs capitalization. Starting with Harrison, right? So as much as Harrison is either a name or it's a surname, right? It is the start of a sentence, and with any word or words that start with a sentence, we need to capitalize it. For example, Harrison. And Harrison, yes, it is a name. However, we also need to correct capitalization errors. So Harrison is going to be written with capital letter for Harrison. Then we have Perth, which is capital letter P. Let me fix that. All right. Every Monday, let's underline Monday, it's a day of the week, I watch the snow mission Pluto. So every Monday, I watch the show Mission Pluto. So Monday is capitalized and P for Pluto is capitalized. So that is but a few of the words that we selected that needed capitalization. Even, yes. Oopsie. Even, every. So I just removed everything. So even every, because every is the start of a sentence. So that is correct. So every Monday, even I. Remember we said that a pronoun, right? So the pronoun I needs to be written with a capital letter and Pluto. So every, because every is the start of a sentence. So every needs to be capitalized. Monday, because Monday is a day of the week. even I, because I is a pronoun. Remember, we said that we need to capitalize the pronoun I, right? As well as Pluto, which is a planet. So every Monday, I and Pluto. So well done for that. So every needs to be capitalized also. And then Andy Warhol was one of the most fascinating artists. So if we select the, let's say if we need to fix what needs to be capitalized, then it will be Andy Warhol, right? Because that is a name, and that is capitalization. Then the next one says, have you been to Australia? Asked Samson. Remember, we said that when it comes to quotations, right? We capitalize the first word of a quoted sentence. So, have you been to Australia? So, the word that needs capitalization is have, Australia, Samson. So, have, because it is the start of a sentence. Australia, and a name of a person, which is Samson. So these are the words that we capitalize within that sentence. And then the last one is the planet Mercury is full of grass. And the only words that we are capitalizing is the and planet. Not planet, Mercury. So the name of the planet. So the as well as the name of the planet. So which means that the, because it's the start of a sentence, as well as Mercury. So those are words that needs capitalization. And just to recap again, right? Remember we said that with capitalizations, we capitalize pronouns, words that, for example, it's the start of every sentence or it is the start of a next line. Words that were quoted or in quoted sentences, we capitalize it. We capitalize names of people. And once again, we capitalize the pronoun I. Remember, we said that if the I is in the middle of a word, we don't capitalize it. But once it is taking the place of, okay, not taking the place, but if we, for example, say I, then I need to be capitalized, right? Whether it is in the middle of the sentence, close to the end of the sentence, the beginning of the sentence, it needs to be capitalized because it is a pronoun. All right, so that is it on capitalization. Yep. So let's go back. All right, so that is basically the end of our lesson on capitalization. And remember, we said the last thing we said that is pronouns also needs to be capitalized. Names of places, names of people, and pets. And if we put respect on a name, we capitalize it. right? And we also fixed a few errors. So, grade six, this is now the end of our lesson on capitalization. I really hope that you have a good day further.